Hey everybody, this is Scott DeCamp. I'm new to the CatchMark team here. This is actually my first show that I'm doing. I'm here in the coach's corner with Tony Sigmon of Whitehall. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate that.
Nice to see you.
Absolutely. We kind of know each other
a little bit. Yeah. No,
so,
it's good to have you here.
Yeah, I was here, with MLI for almost 21 years. Been back in the area since 2013, and back in my sports writing role locally since the last 3 years or so. And it's been great connecting with all the coaches and teams and everything, and giving the readers the coverage that they want and deserve. So, but we'll jump into it. You guys are coming off a really nice bounce back win, 42-0 over Ravenna. 21 points in the first half, 21 in the second half. It was just kind of a complete, performance, I thought. And just what are your initial thoughts on that game and that performance and the way you guys came back off that 32-19 loss to Oak Ridge the week before?
Yeah, we've had actually, for the first 3 games, we've had some really good competition. And we went ahead and we ended up losing, 2 kids to injury with Ira Jenkins and Grayson Shepard here. So, I think that those are 2 big holes to fill. And, the first part of our schedule really didn't leave a lot of, wiggle room there to kind of, be able to grow with that. But with that being said, I think our kids have done a fantastic job with that. You've seen a little bit of the growing pains from time to time. But, we're really starting to get to a place where I think that our kids are really feeling comfortable moving forward with that. So, I think you see that a little bit each week, with, Kalamazoo United. And then obviously, when we were playing, Oak Ridge, they're an excellent football team in their own right. Made a couple of critical mistakes, some more obvious than others. But it was really important for our kids to bounce back this week, and they answered in a big way for us. And I really think it's a great sign of just, having a mature football team and having a group of kids that have a lot of experience, and it's important to them. It's really important to them to be successful at this sport, and I think that really was probably what showed more than anything else here the last Friday.
You guys took care of the football. No turnovers. Ravenna had 4 of them. Mm-hmm. You guys ran the ball well again. Alec Pruitt, another big game. He's just been. He was good last year, I thought, but I think he's really elevated his game. And what can you say for just the way he's performed so far this year?
Alec's a really easy kid to talk about. He's that kid that really wants to do everything right. He's the kid that's going to try to push teammates. It was interesting. We had a conversation on Monday, and one of the questions that we asked the kids and followed up with was, who's the kid that you really look to, whether things are going good or bad? And a lot of kids really pointed to him with his body language, demeanor, and what a great thing for that young man to know as far as the impact he's made on his team. The yards, the ability to play football, that's all there. But when you really have the respect of your teammates, that speaks volumes. And I don't know if there's a statistic or a column that you can really check to really put value on that.
Yeah, and Kyle Stratton, sophomore quarterback, looked like he had a nice game too. The 3 touchdown passes, I believe he was 6 of 9 through the air for 92 yards. All 3 touchdown passes to Brody Focus, who's just a great target at 6'5", 6'6", whatever he is. He's just a big body out there to throw to. But just to have some balance, I know you rushed for almost 300 yards or something like that and passed for just under 100. And people might say, well, that's not balance, but I think, would you say in a lot of ways that is balance because you're still giving opponents something to think about in both facets?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about balance, I think about, as a coach, who do you have to take away to win the game? If I'm the defensive coordinator, who do I have to take away to win the game? And so when I think about balance, we're a veer football team, so that means that our slots get involved as far as running the football. Obviously, you know about Alec, our quarterback. But, Brody really had a great game, coming out as far as, having the 3 touchdown catches. And the thing is that what I'm looking for and what I'm striving for here over the next couple of weeks is even more balance, because we do have excellent playmakers across the board here. So, Brody, he emphasized the reason why, you have to honor and respect him as far as the 3 touchdown passes. Kyle went ahead and he threw the ball fairly well. Also ran for almost 100 yards on top of what Alec was producing. My goal here is, really for people to remember that, Red Watson is an excellent wide receiver, and he is. And he's quietly kind of doing his job and working from there. I think it's just a matter of time before he has a breakout game, and as well as Jaden Holkilbers is, in that same line of thought too.
Yeah, you have a lot of pieces on that offense. Nate Boley, another one who's got the biggest guts, do you call him? What do you call him? Like when I've seen there was a play last year against Montague. You know what I'm going to talk about. When we asked you after the game, we're like, "Oh, that was gutsy play call there, coach. What would you call it?" I didn't call it. He took off on his own, and then he busted a touchdown.
Yeah,
it was a huge swing in the game.
Yeah.
And then a couple weeks ago, the ball's almost dead on the inside, like the 2 or whatever, and the Oak Ridge guys are around it. It looks like we're just going to kneel, and I didn't even have my phone out to get video of it because I thought the play was going to be dead. He comes running there, scoops it, and almost takes it to the house.
Yeah, I think Nate Boley, the best way to describe him is he's our no, go guy. And, he is electric. He does things to where, he's definitely a playmaker in a lot of different places, not just offensively but defensively as well, and is also a returner. So, and he's also our punter. So I think that also adds an extra wrinkle into our game plan as well. So, I mean, he's a fun kid to watch. He's a kid that that if he has access to the football, that you might be on the cusp of seeing something special every time, and and that's a credit to him. I mean, a lot of that is very much instinct and what he sees and what he feels comfortable doing with too. So.
And you got good football out of a lot of kids. You mentioned Jaden Gilbers. He led the team with 5.5 tackles, although it was very balanced. And that, looking at your stats all last year, I thought a lot of times you were very, very balanced because you had just a lot of kids that can make plays, and the scheme you run probably lends itself to that. But what can you say for that side of the ball and what you guys were able to do to make life difficult on Ravenna?
I think it started and stopped with some turnovers. I think our kids really did a wonderful job of really playing fundamental defense in a lot of different ways and in a lot of different cases. And I think that our linebacker play really stepped up here, and then our secondary is really what we've been leaning on early on when we've been kind of battling through some of those injuries and finding the kids that were going to rise up and step up. But overall, I think our defensive line did a nice job. Really kind of cementing that game a little bit. I think you alluded to it a little bit on your MLive article as far as, line play was going to be probably a big factor, and I think that I would agree with that. And I thought that, that was a place where we could really lean on our kids as far as with their area of expertise on the offensive and the defensive line. So all around it was well-rounded. I thought we did have a very nice, well-rounded game plan defensively. It helps that, they did run the same offense that we run, so we were able to get a good look at that at practice, where maybe other teams kind of struggle with that as far as trying to run option football and kind of that type of system during the week.
No, and that's a good point about you could say that in almost every football game that the game's going to be won or lost up front. I think you can say that's just the nature of the game. But so I thought that was really the case. Ravenna, from what I understand, has some nice skill players that they get in space, they can hurt you. And you guys obviously did a good job with that. And defensively, we mentioned Jaden, and then Max Brown and Boley both had 5 tackles, and then you had Jackson Cook with 4.5. So just an all-around good performance, I thought. And going into kind of turning the page, you look at Shelby, and you're heading to Shelby. They're having a tough year. They have Phil Fortier is a long-time coordinator for them, has taken over as head coach. They're right now. I think their numbers, from what I understand, are pretty good. They're just trying to get things going and that kind of thing. They've been outscored 163-12, so it's been tough. But when you play the teams that you guys play in your conference, it's tough almost every week.
Yeah, it is, and honestly, Phil's been here in this conference as long as I have, probably longer. And I have a ton of respect for him as a coach and as a person. He really works from, I think, the right frame of mind as far as building a high school program. And, he's always given us a wrinkle. He's always given us something to where we have to, plan for additionally or account for. And I don't expect that to be any different this year. He is a wonderful coach. And I think that he's going to do really good things there at Shelby. And, for us, I always come back to this kind of analogy or story where, my first year we were 1-8, and then the following year we ended up going 9-3 and winning a district championship. So if we can do it, who's to say other teams can't? We're dealing with high school kids. We're not recruiting outside of our area, outside of our own high school. So when it comes to those areas, I mean, they're doing the exact same things we're doing, and I think he's going to be setting himself up for a lot of success.
Yeah, and what is the main goal? Obviously, you want to win the game when you go into any game, but what are the things that you're really looking for out of your team just to continue growing this week?
It's really, we ended up winning the game 42-0 against Ravenna. After watching the film, we're far from perfect. And I think that that's kind of an eye roll as far as we're like, Coach, you won it 42-0. But at the same token, we know that if we want to reach the goals that we'd like to reach this year, there's always room for growth. And, I'm anxious to see how our kids respond tomorrow, watching film and really going through the process of, what a champion does day to day when the lights aren't on in the stadium. Because that's really, if we want to reach our goals, that becomes a really big priority. And it doesn't really matter who we're playing at that point. There's a lot of things that we could worry about that are completely out of our control. This week is a great example. Like every other week, we control what our Monday looks like. We control what our Tuesday looks like and our process. How are we mentally preparing Thursday after practice in the next 24 hours, but between the time we get off the field to when we step onto the game field Friday night. So all those things we do control, and that's where I've always been a big advocate of. Focus on those things. So that's really what I expect from our kids, and I'm hoping that we have a great week of practice doing it.
Looking at week 3, if you look at the conference and you look around and maybe even the Muskegon area, any observations, anything that kind of jumps out at you?
Well, pack your lunch. I mean, it's always a talented, area. I've always kind of marveled at it. I was at, Jones Trophy House a couple of years ago, and we went 8-3, and I ran into some people, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like 8-3 in a lot of different places in a lot of different parts of the state of Michigan is a rousing success. 8-3 here is, well, you didn't win a state championship, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I mean, it really forces you to elevate your game. It really forces you as a coach and as a program to make sure that every detail really is accounted for and not just double checked but triple checked. And if not, there's too much talent. There's too many good coaches. There's too many good teams that are waiting for you to make a mistake and take that opportunity. So that's probably, this year is no different. I know that there were some teams around the area that didn't have the outcome they wanted last week, us being one of them. But then, when you look at, well, who are we playing, and those teams, they're excellent programs. And you know what? 50% of the teams lose, and 50% of the teams win every week. And you have to be very prepared, and your kids have to be very focused each week in this area.
Do you have any other parting shots or any final thoughts going into the week?
Honestly, the biggest thing that I want to say is, we had our golf outing on Saturday, and to all the people that went ahead and participated in that, donated, did anything whatsoever, whether it was, donate a door prize or really put, a lot of backing into it. I can't tell you how much, I'm grateful personally and on behalf of our kids in our program, just a special thank you. I know we're in a pandemic. Things are tough, and we try to provide the best experience for our kids, and that doesn't happen without people that step up to the plate and help out and donate and fundraise and do those types of things. So, remarkably proud and pleased with that event. The Nazarowski and Shepherd family for taking those on. They did a wonderful job, and we're in a much better place because of it. So. From me to everybody out there, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Did you have the clubs out there, or were you just driving the golf
I
cart?
did have the clubs out there. I'm a bad golfer, but I'm worse at putting, so it's pretty good. So it was a good time, and it's a great opportunity because I don't get to do this much. But I was able to be on a team with my dad and a couple of family members, and it just gets tougher and tougher to get back home. So for them to come over and see where we live and where my family lives. It's special, and it was a big deal.
Well, that's great. Well, that's going to do it for this week for Coach's Corner with Tony Sigmon of Whitehall. We'll be back here next week again on Sunday. But again, they're coming off a 42-0 victory over Ravenna last Friday. This Friday, they head to Shelby for another West Michigan Conference battle. So we move right along into week 4. So thanks for joining and following us, everybody, and we'll see you next week.